Hey everybody. Today I just kind of wanted to come on here and just, show you guys some links and address some issues. So, let me get my chat pulled up. Chills. Okay. So, since we are going to be showing receipts and documents and files and, trying to be real cute over the internet, I figured let's play. Let's do it. So let me get my screen share situation going on here. Okay. Okay. So what we are going to be talking about today is all this stupid, petty drama between ancient Egyptian magic and I. It's really tired and worn out and really sad and pitiful that it really has to come to this, that it really has to actually be about this. Just because I feel like this is so high school. So high school. Now, keep in mind that this is someone who is a self-acclaimed high priestess in the community, okay? And there's a lot of people out there who claim this title without really having it. Now, she mentions in her videos that she was part of a coven, of an organization that is part of the Western occult, but influenced by the Eastern side of occultism, and just, but she never actually mentions facts, like ever. She just kind of blows stuff out of her mouth and talks about random things. So for a high priestess, I just kind of want to clarify, and this is in general, this is not even just targeted towards her, but this is just in general towards, people who claim a title that they haven't earned, because titles are not just given to you, or titles are not just given to you. Titles are earned. You can't just take a title. You earn those titles through your actions. So what makes a high priestess? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. These days, only a fraction of Wiccans come from initiatory covens, so high priestesses has become easy to claim. Exactly, that's what I had just said. And also, the only reason why I'm even sharing this document is because this is the exact document that she was going off of. And I would just like to add that nowhere have I claimed that I am a high priestess. Okay, I don't claim to be anyone's guru. I don't claim any of that. I just come on here and I share my experience. I am not trying to go out of my way to educate people. I am not trying to be anyone's high priestess or goddess or guru or any of that. Any of that. I'm just coming to you guys as myself and showing you guys my own personal perspective on things. So let's scroll down here. Leading by example. Okay, a high priestess is a woman who leads a coven or Wiccan ritual. She will obviously be very knowledgeable about Wicca and witchcraft, but there is a lot more to it, and there is. And in Wicca, every practitioner is a priestess or priest, which I totally agree, okay? There is a big difference, though, between a high priest and priest, or a high priestess and just a priestess. And the basic difference that they are giving between a priestess and a high priestess is knowledge, experience, desire, and ability to give herself in Wicca, give yourself to the tradition, and want to be a service to others and the divine. So that's what that entails right there. Now, this is the role of a high priestess or high priest, because they have responsibilities, okay? And they have to perform certain duties to their community in order to maintain this role and to fulfill responsibilities. So some of them, as you can see here, are advanced Wicca. magic and energy work, okay? Organization, planning rituals, event coordination, management, people skills. And as you can see, it goes on, teaching others, channeling and aspecting the divine. Now, for someone to be a self-proclaimed high priestess, I think it's funny when half of these requirements you do not even meet. Okay, you talk about these events that you're hosting off and on. And as far as management goes, I don't know who you're managing because you can barely even manage yourself, girl. And people skills, clearly you just don't have because you are a, proclaimed self-loving narcissist, okay? Like a psychopath. You are obsessed with creating drama. You are obsessed with creating backlashes and controversy. And I am not the only person that this has gone on with. You have beef with multiple people on YouTube. A high priestess, okay, would have the people skills to avoid that. They would not be putting all of that energy into that, okay? Also, nowhere have I ever seen you plan any sort of Wiccan ritual. And if you truly understood how energy work actually works, then you would not be slandering people on live Google Hangout videos. Taking that back to the people skills, honey, you don't have it. I'm not seeing it. And as far as teaching others go, that's a real gag because not only are you so incredibly historically inaccurate in your quote unquote facts, but you just also are not in this reality, honey. You're just not. You don't understand the basic laws of nature, and how magic follows within that. Understand anthropology at all. And we're going to get into that in a minute. These are personality archetypes that a high priestess should show. Self-awareness being one. Okay, girl. We know you don't have self-awareness. Solid self-esteem. If you had a solid self-esteem, you would not feel the need to get into an argument or a fight with any witch or spiritualist on YouTube. You would feel comfortable within yourself and you would not feel like you have to go attack others because you feel threatened, okay? Emotional balance, once again, clearly, we don't see this. We just don't. Emotional balance is not crying 1 minute because in a live stream last night, crying about how, oh my God, and I know what it's like. And then the next minute, tearing the same person you were just crying about, trying to tear them down. That is not emotional balance, honey. That is bipolar disorder, okay? Respect for others and the divine within, I don't think you have that. I'm not saying that I don't think you don't respect the divine, but I definitely don't think that you respect others, especially people with differing opinions as you. Vast patience. Oh my God, girl, this is the gag because literally the second I blocked you, you hopped on a Google Live Hangout to vent about it. Okay, you have no patience whatsoever. Extreme kindness, I don't think so. Psychological maturity, once again, taking it back to probably being unmedicated and suffering with real mental illnesses, but you don't see them as mental illnesses, you see them as spirits, right? Humility is a big one. One of the things about when someone rises to greatness is that it's always important to remain humble, which I don't even think you can spell humble, okay? A certain amount of social charisma. Now this I will say, yes, you are very charismatic. And I think that goes along the lines of being a raging narcissist because everyone you want within your circle, you just want people to fuel your ego, pet your ego, and make you feel good about yourself, which takes it back into solid self-esteem. You put your worth in other people's hands. And if you didn't, you wouldn't be out here tearing all these different YouTubers down. You would not be out here feeling threatened and attacking people. That is not what someone with solid self-esteem does at all. So let's get a little bit more. Okay, right here. I don't know if you guys can see this being highlighted or not. but this is really one of the biggest traditional definitions of a high priestess or high priest. Okay. Being a high priestess means that you are in a position to serve others. That's the whole point of a high priestess. To work with conflict resolution, which once again, clearly we are not experiencing because you try to verbally attack people on a live Google Hangout. Okay. That's not conflict resolution at all, especially name calling. That's definitely not conflict resolution. A high priestess is there to help organize events. A high priestess is there to help guide and counsel the priests or priestesses or new initiates on their path. That is what it's for. Okay. Not an opportunity for power games. Hello, girl, you are so power thirsty. Seriously. So power thirsty. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what that was an article regarding, you know, what high priestesses are and high priests, their definitions, and it's the same article that she used last night to talk about these things. Now, I have never ever claimed to be a high priestess. I don't have that title. I'm not that. And I'm extremely authentic and genuine. I'm not going to tell you I am something if I don't exude that. I'm not going to tell you I'm a part of something if I'm not. And I have receipts for everything. And you know that. And let's tie that into the whole hereditary witch thing, right? Because in your video, you were talking about not even just me, but you were talking about my family. What the fuck? Seriously. That is just so entirely beyond me. Like, and you know, I've showed you receipts, but you feel obviously threatened by that, obviously threatened by the fact that I grew up in the craft, obviously threatened that I have this in my family. Okay. Which I'm not saying that makes anyone better than anyone else. That is just a backstory, but clearly you do. Clearly you do find it threatening, or else you wouldn't gone after that. And the fact that you want to talk about how your mother is still alive, like that is supposed to do any, like, what? Oh my gosh, that right there shows that you are psychotic. Okay. One of the things that you just, it's not seen as good social skills. It's not seen as being charismatic, is to attack someone who you disagree with and talk about their dead mother. Okay, girl, that's just tacky. That's tacky. And that is not behaving as a high priestess would at all. Talking about how spiritual this and spiritual that. My mother has nothing to do with this. And I would also like to point out, I do not follow the Norse branch of paganism. I do not follow Asatru. I am not a Norse pagan. I don't know where you got this idea from. I don't know if it's because we, you know, we're talking about our paths and our traditions and our beliefs and our shared experiences. And I had mentioned to you that my mother was into Asatru, that she was really interested in the Norse culture. We are not Norse. We are not Scandinavian at all. She was interested in that. She liked that style of magic. That does not mean that I also walk that path. That does not mean that I consider myself a Viking. That is not what that means. Okay? Just kind of clearing that up, because I think that you have multiple wrong ideas about this whole thing. And I'm not sure where you're even getting this information from. And the Viking Strong tattoo here that I have on my chest, what that represents is it's a memorial tattoo for my mother who passed, who you wanted to pop her out your mouth and start saying this and that about her and my family. Shady and tacky, okay? Viking Strong is to remind us of the strength that our mother had and to remind us to be strong like her as well. That's what that tattoo is about, okay? I have it right here, and a lot of my other siblings have it as well, honey. I have 8 siblings, okay? Going into this, because I know that this is a real hot topic for you as well. This tattoo here, this tattoo says Gypsy Soul. Now, you also want to talk about how I'm a fake Romani and this and that, and how I'm actually a blonde-haired white girl, which I, once again, have no idea where you got that. My natural hair color is dark brown, honey, level 2. Matter of fact, a 2N, which if you speak hair color lingo, you would know what that is. Okay. Now, the whole reason why I got this gypsy soul tattoo is because absolutely, without a doubt, yes, I am Romani. I don't know who you think you are to tell me that I'm not. Sorry. So, and not only am I Romani, but I'm a mirage of things. I'm also Portuguese. I'm also Italian. Okay. I'm also Romanian. And if you would know any little bit about history, okay, if you know anything about history, you would know that the Romani people are an eclectic mix of people. Okay, they came from India and traveled, but they are an ethno group. They are not just free-spirited, wanderlust travelers. I think you have that mistaken. I think you might want to go research that a little bit. Or maybe, oh, since you don't like to open books, maybe contact your spirits on that. Okay, because I think you're very mistaken on that. No, Romani people do not have a country. They have host countries. There's Romanis all over. There's Romanis in Ireland. There's Romanis in America. There's Romanis in Greece. Okay, there's Romanis in Romania. They typically adopt the religious views and practices of the country that they reside in. But bear in mind that all Romani people came from India. So there is a lot of Hindu influence. There are a mirage of eclectic, folkish practices. And those could vary from family to family because each family's genetic lineage is so incredibly shaped by where their ancestors traveled. So you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about when it comes to ethnicity and when it comes to any of that. Just no idea. And the reason why I have the gypsy soul tattoo is this is something that is very much found in pop culture that a lot of people just throw around. Okay. Gypsy, yes, absolutely is a slur. It was originally created and started to be used because people thought that Romani people were Egyptian. So instead of saying Egyptian, they said gypsy. It's a shortened version, but we know that not to be true. We know that they come from northern India. Okay, they might have roots. Sure, we all probably have roots in Africa. Okay, but they might have roots in Egypt. And yes, there is some Kemetic qualities to the culture, but absolutely, are they not Egyptian? They're an entirely different thing. Gypsy means slave. That's what that means because they perceived them to be Egyptian slaves. Okay, and soul meaning like your spirit. So, the only people who have gypsy souls are people whose soul is in an ethno group body Romani. That's the only people who have gypsy souls. Okay, and I personally really support and believe in reclaiming words because that by doing that it takes away power from those words. So for me, taking back gypsy and instead of having that as a sense of shame, but wearing it as a sense of pride, there is nothing wrong with being proud of your heritage. And I'm sorry that people being proud of their heritage makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's not our problem. You need to bring that up maybe with your spirits. Honey, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. So we're going to jump in now because we want to show receipts, right? We want to go live. We want to make this a big spectacle. You know, that's fine. I can do that too. Cool. Let's do it. Let's hop into it. And I'm not the one who's the high priestess here. I'm not. So let's jump into it. Okay. Present to everyone. Okay. Okay, so this is the conversation between me and ancient Egyptian magic, all right, on Facebook. And yes, you guys can see my Facebook, and if you'd like to send me a friend request, feel free, honey. So I blocked her ass. That's why this says Facebook user here. So let's get into it. So she's asking me to get on Skype. She sent me a link, and we had talked about in one of the live videos that we did, we had talked about spiritual entities, spiritual beings, and I had brought up Mound State Park, as you can see right here, which Mound State Park is in Anderson. It's in Indiana. And there's actually a lot of Native American folklore there. And there's this whole belief in the idea of the little blue people, which are very similar to the fairy folk of Ireland. So she wanted more information on that. So I went ahead and I sent her this link. Also, at one point in time, me and her were talking about putting together a spiritual panel. And here you will see me recommending Lunar Wisdom because she has a super awesome channel. She's very knowledgeable. She herself is an actual high priestess with her credits and her credentials, honey. She has an amazing channel, and she's probably one of the larger channels in our community too. She runs interviews every week. She has her own courses that she releases. This is someone who is a high priest in our community. This is someone who is knowledgeable. Okay. So I was like, oh, it would be really nice to have her, you know, on the show. Now, as we scroll down here, you're going to see videos that I had sent her because I was telling her all about how I was going to the Midsummer Festival, because when we were talking about pagan communities, and the pagan community is alive and thriving here in Indiana. It is huge. And one of the things that we have here in our state is a giant midsummer, summer solstice or Litha festival. And she thought that was really cool. And since she couldn't be there for it, I decided to send her videos. I'm not sure if this will, but here in these videos, you will see pictures of my family and things that I was showing her. Here in this, we have a video of my grandmother dancing to traditional Romani music. Okay? She's precious. Isn't she adorable? Which, by the way, she is 82 years old. Okay? And still with it. Still kicking. Okay. Down here, this is a video of my youngest brother. Being cute. Yep. Yep. So yeah, as you can see, we were sharing, you know, details, right? And I was seeing her pictures. Here in this picture, this is actually my boyfriend. I have no idea where you got the fact that we were married, okay? Because we're not married, which we have talked about how controversial that is within Romani culture. Because not only do I share and walk and experience American culture, which number one is an extremely eclectic culture because America is such a melting pot, but I also share Romani culture. You can have multiple cultures. Don't know if you get that or not, but this is my boyfriend. Like I said, I have known him since I was 18, or known him since I was 16. We've been together since I was 18 years old. Okay, that is my boyfriend. He is not my husband. We are not married. I don't know who is telling you this information, where you're getting that from, or if your spirits are telling you or what. But at this point, it's just looking sad and desperate because you are literally trying, girl, to just conjure random shit up and make up stories. And it's sad and it's pathetic. And people can see through your disgenuine nature. Okay, and to the left of my boyfriend, that's my brother, my youngest brother in that picture. Let's keep it moving. There's me and my brother, which his nickname is Bandito, which means little bandit. Okay, in case you didn't, you know, in case you didn't know. I know that you can hardly speak English. So I'm just really trying to break all this down for you because I don't expect you to understand other languages at all. This is a quick video of me and one of my really close friends. That's my grandmother dancing again. Okay, let's scroll down. So here we had just ended another live stream and she's like, oh my gosh, perfect timing. I'm about to run to Walmart. And I said, yes, I need to take my lily white ass to bed. And she laughs about that. She says, LOL, lily white ass, LOL, girl, bye. She said, good luck today. The agenda is cray cray. And I said, oh my gosh, I had a blast last night. And I sent her a screenshot where I had shared our live streamed video on her channel. It was a spiritual discussion panel with some surprises. And I shared it within the YouTube Pagan group, which I know that many of you are aware of. Now, I had shared this video so that way people who might not already have known her could get a chance to see her and they could see what we were all about and what we were talking about. Because since I am a part of this group, I like to contribute to this group. So I just wanted her to know that, like, hey, I posted, you know, our spiritual panel, and this also might help us network to find other spiritualists or witches or pagans or whatever who might want to come on and be a part of the panel as well. Because for me on YouTube, it is absolutely not about subscriber count, likes or dislikes. To me, it's about the activity and the socialization and the connections made. That's what is important to me. Okay. And she's like, oh my gosh, I loved it. It's amazing to find a fellow strong spiritual sister. Why have we never connected sooner? And I agreed. I said, yes, absolutely. I find myself asking the same question. She said, LOL, yes. So this is me telling her now that I'm getting ready to go live in about 10 minutes on my channel for the first time. I'm not really sure how to go live. I'm so lost because you guys know I'm kind of technologically challenged. Okay. I have a hard time understanding technology. She said, oh, well, you click stream, then live events. And so she's telling me how to go about doing a live video. And here I'm like, oh, I don't understand any of this. And I'm sending her screenshots. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, it's having issues. And so she's trying to help me figure it out. And here, as we scroll down, you can see, oh my gosh, I finally figured it out. And I took a silly selfie. I was like, I figured it out, bish. She says, yes, girl, I act stupid. Now, here's where we start getting to the spice. Okay, this is where we start getting to the spice in the pot. Okay, this is where the heat picks up a little bit. So I sent her this GIF, okay, from American Horror Story Coven. And it's just two witches. That's it. I just thought it was cute. They were toasting, right? To a new friendship. And me and her at the time were, you know, really talking. We were not only were talking through Messenger, but we were also talking through Skype. And we had plans for her to actually come to my city and come to our pagan pride. So I felt like, you know, there was a friendship being built. So I just sent her that GIF, which she later took as being racist somehow. I guess because there's a white person and a black person toasting. I'm not really sure how that's racist. But yeah. So then she says, who are the two potential people for the spiritual show? And here you will see that I took a screenshot of Hellbound Heathen or Liloken. And I was like, well, this is one of the people that I was considering. And Liloken was like, I could pop into the panel. It would be so fun. And then I told him, as you can see in the screenshot, I said, oh my gosh, it would be such a gift if you did. Because Hellbound has an amazing channel. And he produces really fun content. And he's fun. And as we get down here, you'll also see a girl, Rosalind, who said that, you know, she was part of the live stream and she would potentially like to be part of the panel. And I was like, oh my gosh, as you can see in the screenshot, I said, awesome. I can't wait to get to know you more, which Rosalind is awesome, by the way. And I told her I would go check out her channel, which I did. And she's a sweetheart. So then she says, oh my gosh, I'm barely seeing this. Sounds great. When are we doing our next live show? She talks about how she did a summer solstice tea and oh my God. Okay. I said, how about Friday evening? She said, yes, sounds good. So I had hit her up before Friday and I said, hey, are you free to chit chat? Not necessarily on live, just chat through Google, because I was wanting to talk about this whole spiritual panel thing. And then she said, yes. Sorry, I got it late. And so we never ended up linking up. So the next day, because she didn't really message me back, I said, hey, what's up? And then she said, hey, how are you? And I said, I'm good. What are you doing, sis? Because once again here, I'm trying to talk to her about the spiritual panel that we are trying to put together. So this goes into organization. Okay. It was the whole concept of the spiritual panel was going to be on her channel with a mirage of spiritualists, and she couldn't keep it together. I was trying to talk to her, figure things out, get people together, and she was just being very flaky, which she's an air sign, I'm an air sign, and air signs can be flaky sometimes. Honey, all tea, no shade. Sorry, that's just how it is. And she's a Gemini, which we know Geminis can be occasionally flip-floppy. You know, no tea and shade about that, honey. My mother was a Gemini. I get it. So then I was like, okay, well, let's talk on Hangouts, but let's not go live because I do look a mess, which was true. I said, I got to tell you about this crazy ass house I went to look at as a potential tenant. You are going to trip. Okay. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And so as you can see here, right, I sent her that I was making tea. Give me 2 minutes and I'll call you. And she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I look crazy as hell as well. So here you can see the picture of me looking a crazy mess. And I sent her this picture and I said, girl, we are not going live for real. Okay. Cause I'm a hot mess. Like I was saying, like, let's just have a kiki and just chit chat about this whole spiritual panel. And here you can see her, and she says, "Girl, bye. I look a hotter mess," which is true. She said it's 107 degrees here right now, 90 degrees. So I don't know if she didn't have air conditioning or what, but yeah. So let's get down. But she had told me to call her. So when I called her and she didn't answer, I was like, "Girl, bye. Just answer the phone." So I went ahead and I sent her these pictures. Now, okay, I did a video on this a while back. And if you guys have been following my channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when my partner and I were house hunting, we found one of these houses. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous house. Okay, huge house, beautiful hardwood floors. It was tri-level, multiple bedrooms, multiple bathrooms, perfect, like perfect area, exactly where we wanted to be, and ridiculously affordable, almost questionably affordable. And so when I actually went there in person, I immediately got a bad vibe, and I felt like there was a lot of negative energy in there. I couldn't explain it. I also was getting intuitive senses that there was maybe some domestic abuse that had gone on here, and this place really needed a cleansing. Okay, later on, I found out there was actually a double homicide at this address. Okay, so that's what I was calling to talk to her about, because when you are in this community and things like this come about, you want to share them. At least I do. But, you know, I'm an air sign Libra. I like socializing, talking. So these are the pictures of the house that we had looked at, which some of you might be able to pick up on some of that energy within the pictures. So yeah, these are pictures of the house. Okay, now, as you can see here, while we were on the phone, we were also talking about, she had never heard of the whole Teal Swan situation and the whole scandal centered around Teal Swan. Okay, so I went ahead and I sent her a couple educational links so that she could educate herself, because since you are a member of this community and you are a content creator on YouTube in this community, you should probably be aware of some of the big scandals that go on. Okay, because people are going to mention them. All right, so I had sent her some links there. And she says, "Hey sis, when can we all do a little hangout to discuss a Saturday show? I have a guest. His name is Enlightened Marcos, very successful practitioner. He does TV shows, movies, and etc. like the real deal shit." Okay, I was under the impression that we had already discussed the Saturday show. So I was a little bit confused, but I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. When do you want to? Which Enlightened Marcos on YouTube was a guest on her live stream last night, where she was, you know, digging through her purse and trying to find receipts and try to skew stuff to be where it's not. And when I was talking to Enlightened Marcos with Ancient Egyptian Magic off air, okay, it was just a private Google Hangout, he went on to this big spiel for probably at least a solid 5 minutes that came across very much like he was fetishizing trans women. And he was painting this whole picture that because, you know, Ancient Egyptian Magic and I are both trans women of experience, that we have a higher altitude of XYZ. And it came across like he was eroticizing us and fetishizing us. And I thought that was just weird, but I don't really know him like that. So after the chat, I was like, girl, what is that about? Is he like a TT chaser or what? And she was like, no, he's a cis. And she felt like he was two-spirited and potentially going to be transitioning himself. Either way, I don't really care. I think Enlightened Marcos is a sweet guy. I think that there was a big misunderstanding. And, you know, if I offended him, I apologize for that. But when you come to a trans woman of experience and you fetishize her, and you talk about how, you know, she's greater than X, Y, or Z, or I'm not with that. Okay. No, I do not think that being transgender is a curse, but I also don't necessarily believe it to be a blessing. I think it just is. Okay. It's like being born right-handed. And this is another thing too. On my channel, you know, yes, I am a trans woman. I have no problem talking about transgender related issues. However, that is not the sole purpose of my channel. The sole purpose of my channel is to talk about paganism, the occult, witchcraft, and folklore, as well as just sharing my own personal perspective. This is not a transgender focused channel. This is not really an LGBT focused channel. Yes, I am part of the LGBT. Not only am I trans, am I pansexual, which she went on to talk about how pansexual means that you fuck animals, which was really disappointing that she was that ignorant, because that's not at all what pansexual is all about. And I identify as pansexual because instead of bisexual, because I'm attracted to more people outside of just the binary: male, female, androgynous, trans man, trans woman, gender nonconforming, gender queer, gender fluid. You know, for me, sexual attraction, as far as spiritual connection and chemistry, does not depend solely based on the flesh, because the flesh is just a physical shell, girl. That's all this is. This body, your body, my body, their body, whoever's body, is just a shell that contains the spirit. So yeah. Okay, so she was talking about Marco, da 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 da, and she was like, I'll hit him up and ask when he's free. And then she said, girl, get on Skype. And I said, haha, I was just trying to call you. Give me just a second, doll. And then at this point in time, we were having a bad storm. I used to live out in the sticks. And so I was like, well, I think my internet went down, but it should come up shortly. I kind of live out here in the sticks, which I still kind of do. And I prefer it that way, actually. I actually love not having neighbors and having, you know, I can walk outside and have grass beneath my feet. You know, I have woods right by me. I love that. I live for that. I love nature. So I said, so here we are talking about, you know, what should I tell Hellbound Heathen that our topic is going to be? And here you will also see that I jokingly, as you can see the LOL, said, girl, he is daddy. Now I am referring to Hellbound Heathen or Lilocan on this, okay? And she definitely misconstrued this. Now, when I'm joking around saying that Hellbound Heathen is daddy, not only do I joke around and say that, but there's several other vloggers on YouTube as well who joke around. Hellbound is an older, more mature, educated, intelligent, entertaining, masculine male. And that's just a term of endearment. Okay. And some people who English is their first language don't understand that at all. And they think it's a very sexual thing. Or they think it means literal father, but that's not it at all. Just like in Spanish, you might say mommy or papi, but you're not literally, it's just like saying hun or babe or sweetie. That's all it is, which those of you who know me, I call everyone hun. Okay. It's a bad habit. My mother did the same thing. So I think this is where, I think this is where she got the misconception that there was something going on between Hellbound and I. First of all, we live on opposite sides of the United States, so I don't know how we're telepathically having an affair. You say that he's married or has a wife. I'm not really sure about that. I think he has a girlfriend. Also, his romantic life is not really an interest of mine. He is one of my friends online, and he is a vlogger, and I subscribe to his content because I really like his content. But that does not mean anything other than that. Also, he is not my father. I don't know where you get this whole like incestuous thing. First of all, Hellbound and I look absolutely nothing alike. And he is definitely not my dad. Okay? Okay. So then she's talking about how the topic was going to be about spirituality and the aspect of how the LGBT is a part of it. But she said, you know, we will talk about a lot of T's. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Because me and her are both air signs. We love to talk and talk and talk and talk. I'm Libra, she's Gemini. I totally get it. Air rules the mind. Air rules communication. So I get that. So, so then I was making a joke about how we're both talkers. And I was like, I don't know. We're both so quiet. And she's like, girl, bye. So this is before I had actually talked with Enlightened Marco. This is before I had met him, before I had talked to him on that hangout with her. And so I was just asking her, assuming that she understood the connotation I was using the word daddy in. I was like, oh my gosh, is Marco your daddy too, girl? LOL. Playing around. I'm not literally asking you if Enlightened Marco is your father. I'm not literally asking you if Enlightened Marco is like your boyfriend or your I'm not asking any of that. I was just playing around, girl. So then I had asked her, because she had made a video about someone that she calls VD, because she's very worried about name dropping people in her videos. because she doesn't want anyone to get any subscribers by her name dropping, because she's real concerned about the whole subscriber content. I am not at all. I'm more focused on the community aspect. So you can have all the subscribers you want, sis. But here I was asking her about a video where she was having beef with another YouTuber. And I'm just genuinely a curious person. I'm like, what is this all about? I hadn't heard anything about this. She says, oh, it's about TS stuff, which for those of you who don't know is transsexual stuff, and it's the wisdom witch. And then she said again, LOL, girl, Marco is a cis. And I was like, LOL, because we're playing around. And then I had sent her a GIF, and I let her know about the spiritual show that we were supposed to be doing. I said, hey, tomorrow, I let her know a whole day in advance. I said, hey, actually tomorrow is not going to work out for me. I had something come up. Do you think we could do it at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight? Because that's the time zone that I'm in. She's 3 hours behind me. She is in Pacific Standard Time. I said, so that would be 6 p.m. your time. She said, damn, 7 p.m. my time could work, but I have to head out to do some stuff. And I was like, okay. And then she said, girl, I actually can't do it tonight. I promised them a Skype. And I was like, okay, hon, no worries. And she says, I guess we will do our own thing when our schedule allows. I'm thinking I'm still going to do something with Marcos. I said, okay, I'm so sorry I can't make it, which I did feel bad that I wasn't going to be able to make it because I had something come up at this point in time. And I really did want to be a part of that because we had talked about it and planned that. And I'm usually the type of person who follows through with things, but I had something come up that unfortunately was a higher priority than doing this live show with her and this guy Marcos, who I'd never met. So I thought doing the adult thing would be reaching out to her a full 24 hours in advance, letting her know that I can't do it, but I could do it tonight, or we could reschedule it. She didn't want to do that. So she says, it's going to be good. I want to talk about mental illness and spirituality and how spirits ride you. Now, this is a whole other time. This is another time where she was wanting to do a live show. And I had messaged her back. Some of you may know that I go to a dance studio. I do belly dance. I'm actually learning ATS, American Tribal Style belly dance currently, but I also follow several other forms of dance as well. So I dance at this dance studio. And then when I got her message, I was just leaving. And I said, well, I just left the dance studio. I have to drive home and get cleaned up a bit. I would love to join you, but I don't know if I'll be ready within an hour. I said, it is a 40-minute drive from my house, or from the studio to my house, which, like I said, at this point in time, I was living out in the sticks. Things were far away. So it did take me about 40 minutes just to get home. Plus, I just danced for 2 hours and I would like to take a shower. Hello. But she says, okay, just hit me up when you're ready. I'll spend the first 30 minutes just clearing up some teas, which she does that. She just goes on and on and on. And I mean, she makes really long videos. So, and I did have plenty of time. So when I actually, after I took my shower and got home, relaxed for a minute, changed my clothes, something else came up. And I said, hey, hon, I won't be able to make it tonight. Sorry. She said, no worries. Something came up. I wasn't able to make it. I let her know ahead of time. I don't know what to tell you. Now here I found this video on YouTube where someone was using infant ancestor graveyard dirt in a spell. I had never seen this before. And so as someone who I associate with, or did associate myself with on YouTube, I sent her this video of this infant ancestor graveyard dirt. And I was like, girl, what is this about? I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. And I said, sis, what the hell? I said, I have absolutely nothing nice to say. So I didn't say anything at all. And then there was another video about it, about bitches about to get slayed, which I didn't really understand. It seems, I just didn't get it. So I was having a kiki. I said, oh my God, laughing, crying face. And then she sent me, what the hell, who is this? Which she knows who it is, because these people and her also have beef. And one of their videos happened to come up on my timeline. And so as you can see here, I'm like, girl, it's XYZ, you know who it is. And she said, no thanks, LOL. And she said, girl, you never get dirt from your own relative's grave. Oh my God. And then I said, well, I don't personally use graveyard dirt in my own practice, but I typically hear most people use ancestors' graveyard dirt. And I said, I'm just laughing because she's doing this in like a cellar or a dungeon, which is true. And she's posting revenge magics to the world like, no, baby, what is you doing? Now, listen, I do follow the 4 powers of the magus, and one of those is to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent being the last one. So if I'm going to be doing any type of magic, especially baneful magic, I'm not going to be posting it for the world to see. So then she talks about how you shouldn't be doing graveyard magic, especially with ancestor dirt from one of your ancestors, because it could cause illness and da 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 da. And I was just sitting back and watching all this unfold and enjoying myself. So I sent a gif of Michael Jackson eating popcorn because it's cute and it's funny. She took this once again as me being racist because I'm using a gif that depicts a Black person. So, okay. But then here she is talking about how silence is golden, you never show your work, and she's talking about the 4th power of the magus, about to know, or to keep silent. And so I sent a couple more gifts because, yeah, girl, I know. So I don't really know what else to say, so I just sent some funny gifts. You're goddamn right. She said, girl, you are crazy, okay? I said, yeah, but I'm fun though, which is true. Okay, so here now we are kind of really getting into it. So there was a video posted where she's talking about someone named Miss A. And my channel's name is Lady Ambrosia, so I'm like, surely she's not talking about me. So I asked her. She said, oh, it's Ashira. I said, girl, you'll see her in the comments. Now, those of you who know Ashira, she's amazing too. And she has a pretty well-established channel, and she's awesome. She posts tons of really great content. She's knowledgeable. And so she was having beef with Ashira, which to my knowledge, that's all resolved. But at the time, they were having stuff going back and forth. And so she told me that you would see it in the comments and that Ashira is a fool. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't see Ashira post any comments. And then she just kind of immediately switches the topic and talks about the wisdom witch and how she won't be protecting witches. And I just said, LOL, girl, bye, she's funny. And she said, exactly. I said, a real witch wouldn't need another witch's protection. She said, exactly. So as you can see here, I think this pretty much shows you that we were having a kiki back and forth, you know, and we were both kind of having fun, laughing and talking shit. And everyone does that. And that's a totally natural thing in the human existence. That's what human beings do. We like to have a kiki. I'm not above that. I will totally own my shit. I will totally take accountability for my tea. Yeah, if I see something crazy, I'm probably going to address you and talk to you about it if it's really that big of a deal. But if it's not that big of a deal and it doesn't actually dramatically impact me or affect me, I'm probably not going to address it. I'm just going to keep it moving. I might laugh and snicker about it, but I'll just keep it moving. Because you pick your battles. Not everything is worth, you know, confronting someone and having this big whole thing about, okay? Me laughing about doing magic in a cellar is just the key. So here we have a video that she had done addressing Ashira's apology to her. And I was sent this video by one of my subscribers on YouTube. I am going to tell you right now, because I know for a fact that she'll be watching this. I will not mention that subscriber's name because you have this really tacky habit of anyone I have on my channel, you just like to draw them into all the bullshit and drama. So for the sake of this subscriber, I'm not going to be saying their name to protect their identity from your cowardly, catty, you know, crazy nonsense. So I sent her this, and I didn't ask her, guys. I didn't ask her if she was talking about me in this video, which was like, she was only talking about me and my family for maybe 5 minutes, like halfway through the video. I was just told where to go in the video to like fast forward it to a certain part. So, okay. So I sent her this and I said, really, girl? Because I knew what the tea was. Okay. I knew what was going on. I was not talking about Ashira's apology. Okay. And that's what she thought I was talking about. I was not talking about that. I was talking about her publicly, you know, throwing subliminal shade towards me, my family, our practices, our beliefs, and talking about me on a live chat when, as you can see through this thing, we were having a kiki back and forth since the beginning. And this is even someone who I planned on coming to my local community to come to my pagan pride. So I was very shocked that she would act this way, especially since I was willing to open my community up to her, my local community up to this person. So I was very shocked, very disappointed, and just kind of flabbergasted that she was this childish. Because someone who I would have on my show, someone who I associate with, someone who I consider a spiritual sister, like she called me, someone who I consider a sis, I am no way going to slander them. So, ever, period, publicly or privately. So I said, so who is this white transgender girl who you said that who said that Vikings were the greatest nation? Because it really sounds like you're trying to throw some shade with my name sprinkled in there. She said, girl, bye, no shade. I said, girl, you know, you twisted my words. And she said, here we have a lot of misspellings. I think she kind of struggles forming complete sentences. But she said, I don't think you said Vikings were the greatest. It was something about Europe, though. Which, yes, it was. When her and I and Marco were having a private discussion, I brought up the Wonder Woman movie and how I went to go see it and some of the things that irritated me about it and how they took pagan gods and misappropriated them into this Abrahamic archetype of heaven, hell, good, and evil. And if you guys have seen the Wonder Woman movie, you guys know how they did Ares in that movie, which I also think I made a video on that as well. So she was saying this, and I'm just so shocked still that she was like this petty. Just like it really did throw me off guard. And so I said, oh my gosh, are you really that bitter that I haven't messaged you? Like, oh my gosh. I said, I'm sorry that I've been extremely busy with moving into our first house and getting everything taken care of when it comes to our hearth and home. And not to mention, I did just have surgery on my hand to get some tissue removed, which you guys have seen. Because in the video, she was talking about how I'm a fake and a phony and flaky and this and that because I canceled twice. Like, oh my God, girl, get over it. You are obsessed. No one who is not completely obsessed with someone would throw that big of a fit by someone coming to you and saying, hey, I have to cancel. Let's rain check. Let's reschedule. Oh my gosh. So I said at this point in time, I was seeing this. I was literally one day post-op and a friend of mine sent me this link to your video and this is what I see. She said, no, honey, no twisting. A lot of tea was said and Vikings did come up. And I was telling her, I was like, oh my gosh, I never said anything about the North being the greatest nation in Europe. That is not what I said. I also didn't say that Vikings were the greatest nation ever. What I did say was that Europe had a lot of access to resources, which led to Europe's advancement. I was talking about ancient European history, nothing else, nothing else. But she kept wanting to bring, you know, she's trying to bring race into this. She's trying to bring Africa and Afro cultures into this. That was not what I was talking about at all. So, and I think this is where she thinks that I'm this white racist or white supremacist. I don't really know. I don't really understand that. So then she tells me that my friends are a shade mess. And I said, okay, I'm very disappointed in you. I don't think any of my actions justified you trying to slander me on a public platform. I said, but it is your channel, so you do whatever you want. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your shit, but I just thought that you were a little bit better than that. So as you can see, my feelings are hurt. I'm disappointed by this whole situation. And I'm just letting her know that, like, okay, I see what you did. Like, thanks for not taking accountability. We can just keep it moving. Right? I'm not the one who wants to have this big back and forth. That's not me. That's not in my nature. I am a gentle giant. Okay. So then here she's talking about how I said that Europe was more intelligent and that Africa had no resources and Europe couldn't grow crops on mountains. Like, it makes no sense. I didn't say any of that. The only thing that I said in the conversation was that I think one of the reasons why many of the Norse people traveled, pillaged, and conquered, because Viking is actually an action. We now use it as a description for a person, but you go Viking, and going Viking was going and pillaging and raiding and conquering, taking back brides and taking land. And one of the main reasons why the Vikings did that was because they were an agriculture focused basis, or not basis, but culture, agriculturally focused. So they wanted more land to farm. And Scandinavia is up in the north, it's cold, it's hilly, it's frozen, it's rocky. And so I am by no means a scholar, but I was making the assumption that they were probably trying to get better land to farm. That's it. But oh no, she wants to talk about dreadlocks and cultural appropriation, because I also think that, I mean, you can't really claim a hairstyle, and I will stand by that. I did say that. I think that the whole cultural appropriation thing around dreadlocks is a little bit silly. And this is coming from someone who is fairly liberal herself as far as politically goes, and this is also coming from a hairstylist. All dreads pretty much are mats. I've done dreads. I understand how that works. So now I think the whole aspect of Black people feeling upset because they have been shamed for wearing their natural styles for years, and now people of other races are wearing them and it's being kind of fetishized and eroticized, that I totally stand by and understand the frustration there. As far as dreadlocks being cultural appropriation, I disagree. That's just my opinion. And if you disagree, you know, you're free to disagree with me. We don't all have to agree on everything. So then she tells me that no shade, but Europe was never more advanced than Africa, which I didn't say that anywhere. So I think that this is probably coming from a place of insecurity within her. And maybe she, as a woman of color, has had some poor experiences throughout her life, and that this is where this is coming from. Because someone who is sane and in reality and secure within themselves, all aspects of themselves, don't do this. So this is kind of what I'm seeing. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's kind of like off her rocker a little bit. Like she's hearing things I didn't say. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, why are you so personally offended? Just and upset because I haven't showered you with any attention. I said, so you had to go hop on YouTube and throw shade? Because I was busy, guys. I was moving and I was having a surgery. Like I was not on YouTube for what, 2-3 weeks? Oh my gosh. And she was like, she goes back to this whole Europe thing about all the advancement in Europe being attributed to Europeans stealing other people's cultures as their own, which I think we can argue that. I mean, I definitely think that Europe, as far as the Greek and the Roman Empire and the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings and all that, I mean, I definitely think there was plenty of pillaging and taking things from other lands, especially brides. Let's talk about the spice trade. I mean, that was huge. So I understand that European history does have some violence in it, and I'm not denying that at all. I'm also not condoning violence either. So then she says this gem, which this is really funny. She talks about how Europe actually didn't have any culture until the 20th century. And who do you think they got it from? Oh my gosh, girl. Europe has had history even before the 20th century. I mean, do we need to talk about some of the more famous artists? Like, what about Michelangelo, Donatello? What about them? Or what about all the history we have of Ireland, or all the history we have of Scandinavia, or the vast amount of knowledge we have in the Roman Empire and the Greeks as well? It's crazy to me how you could sit there and think that Europeans have no culture before the 20th century, because that is just so incorrect. But I was already done with even this whole situation, because now I'm starting to see her true and true colors more and more and more. And I'm starting to see her more and more as conniving and catty and obsessed and jealous. And so I was just kind of done. And I said, well, not to mention the fact that you're going to throw my family line into your video, saying that because I do come from magic and I have the craft in my family, that I don't have to put effort or research or try to understand any other past, or that I'm not knowledgeable. You're just incorrect. And I always say this. Yes, I do have magic in my family. Does that make me better than someone who doesn't? No. And chances are, if you were to trace your lineage back, the majority of our ancestors would have all been pagan, who probably would have been practicing some type of earth-based practice. So there's that as well. So the whole hereditary witch thing, I think, is a whole other debate and conversation that we're not even going to get into today. Okay. So I was just irritated that she had to bring up my family, and she is like all flabbergasted because I'm calling her out, and she's like, excuse me? Really curious if you've just had a bad day and that's why you're acting like this. And she's like, girl. I said, listen, I know you have beef with several other people on YouTube, so I'm just saying. She's like, well, there was no shade thrown at your family. I'm like, oh my gosh, go rewatch your video. You talk about how I use my family as a crutch for my practice. Like, that was some shade, girl. And she talks about how she knows where to reach me at if she needs to address me. Clearly you don't. Otherwise you would have had a conversation with me personally if you really had a problem, but you didn't really have a problem. You were just irritated because I hadn't contacted you in a couple weeks, and you really wanted me to be a part of all your shows. And so you decided to throw out some drama on your live stream and throw some shade. And that's what basic witches do. Okay. Exactly right there. So, we go back and forth, and she's telling me about how I'm entitled to assume this and that, but 98% of the video had nothing to do with me, which is true. Most of it was about the apology of Ashira, but 5 minutes of it was slandering me and my family. And then she is telling me that I throw tons of subliminal shade, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what shade do I really throw? And we're just kind of going back and forth here. And as you can see, my texts are getting shorter and shorter. Hers are getting longer and longer because now she feels like she needs to explain herself and try to make it seem like it's something it wasn't. And here she talks about how history says that Europeans all were savages, liars, and thieves. Anyone who thinks otherwise needs to research deeper. So here I'm realizing that, oh my gosh, not only is she completely delusional and crazy, but she thinks that all Europeans are savages, liars, and thieves. She also had a video where she was talking about how ancient Europeans ate their babies and killed their mother. I don't get it, guys. I really, as we get deeper and deeper into this, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. But then she starts telling me, after she tried to slander my culture and slander my family and my family's practices, she starts telling me about how I should be proud of my practices and culture, but it shouldn't stop there. We will continue to learn and grow and take what you know and incorporate it into things you learn, which I'm confused because how do I not already do that? Not only am I a pretty public figure in my local pagan community and admin a significantly large local Facebook group designed specifically for local pagans, I also have volunteered at the Pagan Pride Festival in my local area, and I'm a content creator on YouTube. So I don't know how I'm not contributing or learning or growing in my path, and I don't really understand why any of your business anyway. So I told her that, I would have never called her out her name on a live hangout and throw shade and slander you. I can't believe that you would be so inclined to do all this mess. The least you could do is just be grown and take accountability and say, yeah, you were talking shit. That's all I really wanted. I was just calling her out, and I just wanted her to be like, yeah, I did that. But she couldn't really do that. At first she tried to back it up and say, oh my gosh, da 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 da, it's not what you think. And then later on, as we scroll down, she starts trying to completely flip the entire script. So then she starts talking about here, and you guys can read this if you want, but basically the whole thing is about, we were friends on Facebook. I was on her personal Facebook, she was on mine. I shared a post about dinosaurs. This fundamental Christian lady is in this video talking about how dinosaurs aren't real and never existed, and basically how paleontology is make-believe and bullshit. And a lot of my friends on my Facebook, either friends that I'm actually friends with personally or acquaintances on my Facebook or whoever on my Facebook, had commented on there, and they were like, oh my God, this girl's crazy. Well, she had commented on there and was basically saying how she doesn't believe in dinosaurs, how it was all created. She was slandering other people, bashing them for their beliefs, and talking about how she believes in a flat earth conspiracy and how dinosaurs never existed. So naturally, the people on my Facebook who were in this feed commenting on here, they were like, no bitch. And so they started going in on her. And no, I didn't do anything about that. I didn't step in the middle of it. I didn't say anything. I didn't condone it. I didn't support it. I didn't stop it either. I just let it happen because you're a grown-ass woman. You can comment on my feed if you want. And, if you're going to come out with this big, strong opinion of yours, be able to back that up, because people are going to disagree with you. So if you don't feel comfortable with people disagreeing with you, don't post a controversial opinion on Facebook. Sorry. So then she tells me that she's going to do a public video to clear up all the fuckery. This is moments before she does her first live video where she is just being all crazy, basically. And this is, yeah, we'll get into that. So I sent her another gift, just kind of shaking my head because I'm done. I'm done. And she's asking me who those people were. And I said, some of them were just random people on Facebook. Like, I don't know every single person on my Facebook page. And then she's telling me that my friends represent me and who I am, which, if that's true, then her whole situation is just gag worthy. And so Yeah, I just told her that she's just bitter and salty because she commented on the dinosaur post. And I'm laughing because I'm like, wow, this is what it all comes back to, is the fact that people on my Facebook dragged you because you didn't believe in dinosaurs and you believe in a flat earth. That's what this all comes down to. That's the meat and bones of this whole situation. That's why you're so offended. That's why you're so personally insulted. So then she starts talking all this stuff about how she's not bitter and da 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 da, and dinosaurs didn't exist and blah blah blah. And y'all can read all that if you want. I'm not, I mean, she writes me novels. So I don't think she can really say that she is above it all, because clearly she's not, honey, because she could have published a book writing all this out. So I was like, oh my gosh, so that's what this is all about, LOL. And here's something really funny. So she was like, I'm not bitter and salty. I'm manifesting, and you can't manifest when you're bitter and salty. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, this is some high school shit. Um, so I was just like, okay. I was like, you have absolutely no idea, what I am or am not capable of. But thank you for trying to read me for filth once again. I really appreciate it. And please continue to show your true colors. So notice that I'm still just trying to just distance myself from this whole entire situation, because at this point I'm so done and over with the fuckery. And it's weird, because she's like, I think in her 30s, maybe her late 30s. I'm not really sure. I'm almost 24. So just looking, if we talk about manifestation, physical things that you have manifested, in your environment, or things that you have manifested to create change within yourself, if we just look at our environments, like, girl, we are not even on the same playing field. I'm sorry. We aren't. We just aren't. Our level of consciousness is different. Our paths are different. Our perspectives are different. I mean, like I said, you've been living in that apartment on that dusty couch talking about moving for like 6 months. And it's funny because, like, I noticed that you took that to heart, what I said about your couch and how the burritos slide off of the couch and stuff, and how dirty and stained it looked, and how your background looked a complete mess. But you were telling other people that they can't manifest and this and that. And you were slandering me because I have bookcases in my background. So you had to clean it up. And now you sit on the floor in front of a tapestry with a little rickety, rackety, used table, girl. So whatever. You want to talk about manifestation? How about you get yourself together and get yourself right, honey? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be totally real here. I mean, like I said, I have been with the same guy since I was 18. I've known him since I was 16. I don't know why she thinks I'm not in love with him when I am. We're very happy together. We have a great life together. Every year we've manifested together more and more. Like I said, when I was your age, or when I was, your age now, when I was 18, I had already had the apartment. I was already doing that. I was already into a career when I was 18 years old. I actually started very early. And we went from that apartment to a slightly larger apartment, to a bigger apartment, to a townhouse. And now we have our own house. And yeah, so I just don't think we're on the same playing field. So I think telling me that I can't manifest is silly when you have the actual proof right there in front of you. So, okay. So then she starts going into all this stuff, and this is where she starts writing novels. And like I said, I just told her, thank you for trying to read me for filth once again. I really appreciate it. And this is where she goes ahead and tries to explain herself, talking about how, I said that Europeans were more intelligent than any other ethnicity and how they were more advanced. And that's not at all what I said. And that's definitely not at all what I meant. We started talking about Superwoman or Wonder Woman. And after that, we got into culture because we were talking about the Greeks, and we were talking about human culture and advancement. And one of the things I said as a guesstimation, I'm not saying this is fact, but as far as ancient Europeans go, I think that they maybe just had more access to more resources. I mean, because you have these different countries that have extreme levels of growth at different times. I'm not saying that Europeans are better or less than this or that, but take a look at it from a non-biased perspective. Step back, take a look back at history, and think about why certain cultures succeeded, rose to glory, and why they also fell. Okay? Think about Rome, how it rose and how it fell. So I'm not saying that anyone's better than anyone else. So I don't know where she gets that from. So yeah, as you can see, all this down here, she's still talking about how I think white people are better than any other race of people. And then she goes into talk about how she actually doesn't talk about me at all, and how she talks to Grand Madame and all her other little YouTube friends, and she always speaks so highly of me, and that she's never said a negative thing about me. Okay, girl. So as you can tell here, my comments are getting shorter and shorter because I'm just kind of done. So I just said, okay. And I sent a funny GIF, and I said, also, I'm definitely not a white supremacist or a racist, but thank you for trying to paint me in that light. Like, you're real funny. And then she says, oh, and actually, FYI, the white transgender that I brought up and the white people are more than stand black folks. Sorry, her comments are really hard to read because they are not very well written and there's a lot of misspellings. So just bear with me. It's not very intelligent writing, so I have to kind of look at it here. So yeah, so she's talking about how FYI, the white transgender I brought up, that brought up the white people are more than black folks. Also, his name is Dakota Hendricks. He's a YouTuber or a content creator on YouTube. And I say he because he's non-binary and he don't care about being called he or she. He likes to be caught them because they are look him. Like I said, this is, not super intelligible writing. He did a video called Dear White People where he said that white people's culture was destroyed in a fire and that's why they steal other people's cultures. And she said, girl, bye, I'm not afraid to confront anyone. Now, just earlier you were saying that, yes, you were talking about me when you were talking about that white transgender witch on YouTube, but now you're saying that you're not talking about me. Like now you're trying to backtrace because you done fucked up. Because you know that you really wanted to have someone of a similar experience in your circle, and you've just realized that you let your own mouth and tongue push you out of that. So I sent her a funny GIF, basically just saying, get out of here with that bullshit. Like, I'm done. As you can see, my comments are getting shorter and shorter. But then she tells me that maybe I just need to meditate and see it all from my spirit eyes. And I'm just laughing over here, like, girl, I've seen enough from you. And she said, because you see that I was coming for you and whom I really don't know, that's a negative, girl, bye. And I just am so sick of the condescending nature of it all. And I'm just like, girl, you're not my mom or my sister or my guru or my daughter or my goddess or someone I considered as a friend in the YouTube community. And I clearly was wrong. My bad. Like, you are now no one to me. You were never my mother. You were never my sister. You were never my guru. I think she likes to let that go to her head because she likes to cling on to this little piece when she makes these videos about and guru and jealousy. Honey, I promise you there's absolutely not a thing I am jealous of you of. Not one single thing. From your head to your toe, all the way around, up, down, side to side, there's not one thing I am envious of you. And I sincerely mean that. And I don't mean that as shade. I'm just not I'm not jealous, honey. I'm sorry. There are times where people just don't like you. It doesn't mean that they're jealous of you. It means that they just don't like you. And this is one of those times. I just find you annoying and insincere and inauthentic. And it's not because I'm jealous that I feel that way. I just don't like you. It's just that simple. So here you can see her posting this big long novel, which I'll stop here for a minute. You guys can read that if you want. And she's talking about how she's going to go live and she's going to address stuff. And I haven't proven myself to her and that I was never a friend. I'm like, girl, you were planning on coming all the way out here to my state to come to my local pagan pride event. Like, so you're just going to fly out here to see someone random? Okay, whatever. So I just messaged her back and I was just like, okay, you know what? Cool, great. No loss on either side. We'll just go our own separate ways. I don't want any beef. I don't want any beef. And then I blocked her. And that's it. That is the true tea behind this whole situation. I have my receipts and I'm making my energetic refund, bitch. Sorry about you. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else you want. You can keep making all these crazy replying videos and slandering me and talking about how I'm this white supremacist or this white racist, which is so crazy funny to me. Just like that alone. And you were like literally crying on your live stream about how I don't want to put down other trans women because I know about that. Da, 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 da. But then you proceed to go in on me, like literally 5 minutes later, about my facial features being masculine, or about how because of these surgeries I've had, it's going to increase my suicide rate. Like, no, girl, it's actually the opposite. It's the complete opposite. After going through the transition that I went through and making the changes that I saw fit to change, I feel so much better and so much happier. You clearly are a little insecure because maybe your transition hasn't moved along as easily as mine, or maybe you haven't been as privileged as I have to have the transition that I've had, and to transition so easily and be accepted in my community, in my family, by my friends, not had any issues with work, not lost anyone in my family, not been abused because I'm not gone through this stuff. So I don't know if that's that, but you can't in one note talk about how you support the transgender community and in the next bash a transgender woman. You can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. That's not being an ally. So anything I have to say about you is absolutely about your character, about the way you treat others, about your people skills. That's what I have to say about your spirit. You can focus all day long on this physical body, honey. You can focus all day long on this, if that makes you feel good. But this is all temporary, and I know we both know that. So I'm not going to keep going on and on about this. I just wanted to show my side of the story because she wanted to hop on here and do this whole receipt thing and be all crazy and loud and throw shade and just be ridiculous and just make up stuff. So there you have it. Now you have both sides of the story. Honestly, I didn't really ever expect any of this to happen the way it did. I know I had seen a lot of other drama on YouTube before. And as a viewer, before I was a content creator, I would watch and I would see some of this drama unfold on YouTube. And I'm just like, wow, this is like really sad and kind of crazy. And, you know, if there's anything that I've learned from this, it's that no one is immune to crazies. No one is immune to crazies. And we all get them. You know, I'm sure in her perspective, in her mind, I'm one of her crazies, but I'm sorry, she's the common denominator. When there's 5 other vloggers that you have problems with, honey, I'm no mathematician, but do the math. You're probably the common denominator. There's probably something going on with you that people find detestable. So, you know, I've spoke my piece. I've said my truth on the situation. And, you know, I know she'll be watching this. And I wouldn't be surprised, I'll call it now, I wouldn't be surprised if she makes another reply to this. But if there's anything that I want to leave and on this whole topic, and just kind of one final thing that I want to address, is that I'm completely done. I want no more part of this. I won't play into this anymore. If you want to keep making videos about me, slandering my family, coming after my viewers, or coming after my other friends on YouTube, go for it, I guess. You're more than welcome to. I'm not going to stop you or tell you what content you can or can't create. But now I am done. Like I said, I've spoken my piece. I honestly do wish you, you know, the best on your endeavors. I want no part in any of your energy or programs or anything. You know, I am not interested in continuing communication, so please don't message me. I have you blocked for reasons. You will get banned, blocked, and deleted. Don't make fake profiles. Don't, you know, I'm not here for that. So you do what you want with all of this. If you want to continue making this into a bigger and bigger deal and adding more fuel to the fire, girl, go for it. You know, have fun, get carried away. But I am not going to be doing that. And I do sincerely wish you the best. And if at any point in our communication, if I did offend you, which you seem offended, I'm not sure where along the lines I offended you, but from spiritualist to spiritualist, you should know in my heart that I am truly sorry if I upset you or caused you to feel some type of way, because that was never my intention. I promise that was never my intention. I never woke up one day and said, let me just piss people off. So if me using those gifts made you feel targeted or oppressed in any way by me using gifts that some of the ones I used happen to contain Black people in them, I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you feel that way. If, you know, anything else I have said, like about my, you know, knowledge and expertise on anthropology and history and me just making an educated guess, I'm not even saying it's a fact, just an educated guess, and you being offended by that, you know, and having to continually regurgitate that Africa had resources and this and that and this, you know, I'm sorry that I offended you because that was not my intention. Do I want us to resolve all this and put this to rest? I don't really care. Do I want anything to do with you? Absolutely not. Am I sorry that I hurt another human being's feelings along my path and my existence? Yes, of course. So I wish you the best. And I hope that, you know, you are able to find your happiness. And I hope that maybe through all of this, you are able to actually really, truly sit back, really, truly do some shadow work, and really, truly think about yourself and your actions and what these actions have caused for yourself. Because I really think that there is a lot of growth here that can be done if you just put the pride down, which you have said yourself that you really struggle with being egotistical before and having a large ego. So this is something that you've said yourself. I think if you could just find a way to minimize that just a little bit and just sit back and just reflect and think, I think that you could maybe do some real growth here. So I wish you the best. And this is the last I'm going to say on this, guys. My channel, my content is not centered around this type of piddly, petty, childlike drama. It's just not. That's not why I'm here. And I'm not going to continue to be making that type of content. I did want to come on here and just set the record straight and just address it. And that's all. So thank all of you who were hanging out with me, listening to me rant and ramble. This video will be being posted. And yeah. Also, if you guys are still watching, I am probably going to be doing a Oracle deck review of the Fairies Oracle, which I did a Oracle review on the Heart of the Fairies Oracle, but I'm going to be doing a review on the Fairies Oracle. So stay tuned for that. And I hope all of you have a beautiful rest of your day. We actually have some workers coming to the house. They're going to be getting ready to actually put our fence in for us on our property, which I'm really excited to have, a privacy fence. And I need to run out to the store and just get a few things. I need to go to Lowe's, and I'm picking up some spray paint. I have a few other projects that I'm working on. So I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day and continue to create and conjure and smile. Blessed be, guys. Bye.